Hello, fellow miscreants. Hello, fellow bed slugs and scumbags of the earth and everywhere else. And welcome, welcome, welcome to the darkness. Starring me, as usual, your dark and eminent guide to utter chaos, destruction, and otherwise outright fuckery. What's happening? What's going on? Well, today's subject on tonight's menu, ladies and gentlemen, is simple, easy, and to the point. Something that you might enjoy, that you might find very informative and very amusing. It's called people and the reactions that you get constantly, 24/7. Here's what it is. Here's what I find very, very amusing. Here's what I find very, very, what do you call it? Somewhat kind of like a joke. It's whatever you say on this platform, somebody else is going to go absolutely crazy in a reaction over it. Right? Someone's going to go crazy in a reaction over it. Right? Somebody's going to go totally ape crap fucking insane over the slightest whim, over the slightest comment, over the slightest way you say things. And they go absolutely bonkers. They totally lose their minds. Isn't it true? Isn't it true? Whatever you say on there, either will get a small ripple in the water, which is, kind of like maybe one, two people reacting, But then sometimes you get the big mother of all reactions, the big mother of all reverberations. And then what happens next? Then you get a huge ripple in the water, and that everybody talks about it for months, for weeks, for years on end. They keep talking. They keep talking. And the more they talk, the more power you derive from it. And the more power you derive from it, the more strength you derive from it. And the more strength that you derive from it, the weaker and more frail their attempts at destroying you start to become. And then pretty soon their little itty bitty plans and their little itty bitty storylines and their little itty bitty brain cells start falling down like a sack of unkempt hair. And it falls down. Falls down to the ground, actually. Then you look at yourself and you say, you know what? My enemy tried to attack me, tried to make me feel like nothing. But you know what I did? I took their little plan and turned it on itself, and guess what happened? It got flipped and changed, and the very plan that they have in store for you, the very menu gets flipped on them. And then guess what? The whole citadel crumbles like a bunch of broccoli. and falls down and slams down to the ground. Am I right? Am I right about it? Am I right that even the most perfectly made plans can be taken apart, ripped apart, and destroyed with one word, with one flick of the wrist, with one turn of the tables? And then guess what you're left with? You're left with, what do you call it? I would say the words defeated come into play. Because think about it. You see, I've seen the worst played plans, the worst made plans, and I've seen the best made plans. And let me tell you, it's actually quite amusing to see the reaction on these people's faces as their little facade, their little schemes, their little scams just blow up in their face. And you just watch. And they don't learn from the first time. They don't learn from the second time. It just keeps repeating itself over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's the most amusing part about it, is because they never stop entertaining. They never stop doing what they do. And all I got to do is just sit back and just watch the whole thing unfold. And with a bucket of popcorn and a nice, good old Faygo, I just sit there and I just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh at all these people with their chests puffed out saying, "Oh, I am man, me man, me man, me man." But in the actual reality of it, they're just scared little boys trying to be something that they're not. They are. They're just scared because they're afraid of one thing and one thing only. You see, all of their actions, all of their thoughts, all of their facade, little schemes, is just like putting up a circus tent. And they put it up with one flimsy little pole. Praying to God it'll stay up, praying to God it'll stick, praying to God it will do something. And then when it comes crashing down, and when it all falls down, they're left with nothing but their own messy little story, their own messy little lives, and their own messy little scams and schemes that they try to put on us. Am I right? Am I right about it? Or am I wrong? I mean, I'd like to know. You know, I'm actually shocked because I actually see one person actually listening to all this. You know, don't be afraid to type. I don't bite much. I just nibble a little bit. I'm not such a bad guy. I'm really not. I just do things. Like I said, do I really look like a guy with a plan? No. I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. I just do things. I just do whatever comes into my little brain. I just do it. I don't think about it. I don't have a plan for it. People think I'm under control. Oh, I haven't laughed like that in a long time. I needed a good laugh like that. People think that I am under control when they have problems controlling themselves, their own ambition, their own self-ego, and they want to blame me saying that I have someone controlling me, that I have somebody telling me what to do and how to do it, when they themselves are a uncontrollable mess. Think about it. They want to claim that somebody's life is in utter chaos and destruction when all they're doing is doting on their own goddamn selves. That's what you call irony, isn't it? That's what you call, oops, I did it again. I mean, am I right about this? Am I right? Am I absolutely right? People want to cover up their own mistakes and their own frailties by banking off of the mistakes of other people. Because as long as they keep the spotlight off of themselves, they don't care about the other person. Because they just use the other person as human target practice, as a human being just being used, being abused, because they don't want to take the rap for what they've done. They don't want to take the rap for what they've said. No. They would rather say, he did it. He did it. He did it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you one thing only. If I've ever done anything, I will be glad, 100% glad to take claim in that. Are you kidding me? I take my work very, very seriously. And if somebody says that I did something and I didn't do it, well, I'd be like, well, what did you claim that I did or didn't do? Well, I may have robbed that bank. I may have not. I don't know. Depends on my mood, I guess. But like I said, if I did something on this planet, on this platform, that was so heinous, so earth-shattering, shameful, I would gladly admit it. I would gladly take claim to that fame. Because you see, I'm an artist. I'm a man of honor, sort of. And if I'm going to basically lay claim to my own work, you're darn right I'm going to. Because I am the first and only homicidal artist. I take pride in my work. I take pride in what I do. And I take pride in what I say on here. And if people don't like it, well, that's just their problem. Because I really take pride in what I do. Because you see, do you really think popular opinion really means anything to me? No. Because I'm not one of the public. I'm not. Even if I'd like to be, but I'm not. Do you really think that a guy like me could be put in a suit and a tie, stuffed behind a desk, saying yes ma'am, no ma'am, please and thank you? Come on. Give me a break. I'm not built that way. I've never been built that way. I do things because it's just in my nature to do it. It's just in my nature to say it. It's just in my very being. That's something that you guys don't understand. That's something that you guys are failing to comprehend. Why torture yourself with public opinion and public knowledge when you don't need either or? Because the public thinks what the public thinks, regardless of what you think. People are going to do what they're going to do, regardless of what you think, what you feel, what you react to. They're still going to do it. They're still going to say what they're going to say. They're still going to do what they're going to do, regardless of you. And that's something that you don't understand. See, the general world does not revolve around you. It doesn't even revolve around me. It revolves around all of us. And we have to learn to do one thing. If you really want something in life, you have to go out and you have to take it. You have to work hard and you have to claim it as your own. Because if you don't, then someone's going to go right over you and claim it for themselves. It's like finding a gold mine. You know, if you don't claim it, somebody else will. If you don't do it, somebody else will. You know, it's just like working at a job, right? You work at a job all your life, and you put in the tenor, you put in all that, and you don't get anywhere, and you're like, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. Well, you know what your job's going to say, really? You're going to say, fine, if you want to quit, go ahead. We'll just find somebody else that'll be willing to get the job done, that'll be willing to go to do what we want. Me? No. No. No, no, no. Do you really think I do what people tell me to do? Do you really think I do what people want me to do? Do you really think I do what people ask me to do? No. I do things because it's in my nature to do it. I say things because it's in my nature to say. And if I'm the only person out here that is living life on the wild side, so to speak, and speaking my opinion and speaking how I feel on here, and I guess that makes me the worst criminal in the world, right? It's interesting. It's interesting how the world works. Interesting how people are. That one little comment, one little dinky little slip of the words. And all of a sudden, the whole town lights up on fire. Guess what? All we did was just get a few drums of gas and some matches, and boom. Lights the whole match, doesn't it? You don't need gasoline to make a fire. All you have to do is give it a little push. And then the world is your oyster. The world starts burning. People start running all over the place. People start tripping all over themselves, tripping all over everything. Because they think you know something. They think you're going to expose them. They think you own them. When it's really totally the opposite. You don't owe them, and they don't own you. But we all need to own ourselves and control our own actions on here. Me, I find that boring. I find that totally yawning. Because think about it. We're chaotic because it is the very thing that makes us human. The very thing that makes us dangerous. The very thing that makes us so unpredictable that even the world's most smartest and cleverest people tremble before our feet. Think about that one for a minute. Think about you are actually smart way before your time. And you know how you do it? You do it by being one step ahead of your enemy. one step ahead of the person that's heckling you. And you know how you do it? You do it in absolute silence. You do it in the dark. You do it in the shadows. So that even your worst enemy has no clue as to what you're doing or what you are thinking about. Why do you think I thrive myself on? Unpredictability and chaos. Because that's my nature. That's who I am. And you know, it's a beautiful thing. Chaos is the most beautiful thing that the world has ever created. Because what does chaos breed? Unpredictability. And what does unpredictability mean? That, my friend, is what makes you dangerous. That, my friend, that what makes you unstoppable. That, my friend, that what makes even the best people in the world afraid to even deal with you. Because they don't know anything of what you're going to do, what you're going to say, or how you're going to say it. Because you have strived yourself on unpredictability. And that's what makes you a formidable opponent. Even in the worst of wars, no one knows what you're going to do until after it's done. No one knows what you're going to say until after it's said. No one knows what you're thinking about until after the plan comes to flourish. That's what makes you dangerous. Wouldn't you agree? And don't forget, I'm just going at a language that you feel comfortable with, that you feel truthful with. Is what I am. I am the absolute reflection of you. I am the absolute negative of what you are, of what you created yourself to be in this world and in the next. I will always be the shadow that's right behind you, waiting for you to mess up, waiting for you to screw up, waiting for you to beg for mercy in the end, so that you will come crying and groveling, begging for things to stop, begging for things to quit. But guess what? It's not my job to stop what's happening. The real person that decides on whether to stop or start things is the one you look at in the mirror every single day. It's the one that you see every single day. It's the one that heckles you every single day, telling you that you're not good enough, telling you that you won't make the grade. But you know what you need to say? You need to say, I call bullshit. I call bullshit. Because the only one that could determine whether you pass or fail in this life or any other life is you. Because you see, we're all born with a fire. We're all born with a sense of belonging. We're all born with a sense of never giving up, never quitting, and never surrendering. Yes, we get bruised. Yes, we get beaten. Yes, we get destroyed, both physically and mentally. But guess what? You know what differs us from everybody else? You have the power to stop it. You have the power to make it quit. You have the power to say enough is enough. I'm done being kicked around. I'm not going to be thrown out. I'm not going to be thrown away. I'm not going to be destroyed anymore. I'm going to be reborn. And I'm going to be reborn into something that is unlike anybody has ever seen. Think about this for a minute. Imagine you're on a battlefield and somebody shoots you with a gun. What are you going to do? Sit there and bleed to death? Or are you going to automatically and instantly survive and look for something to patch it up and stop the bleeding, right? Well, that's the same way with real life. That's the same way with everyone's life you should do. Should be like, look, life wounded me, life hurt me. But guess what? I'm not going to sit there and mope about it. I'm not going to sit there and say life is not fair and life owes me a living when it doesn't. You owe yourself. You owe yourself a living. You owe yourself a life. You owe yourself the dividends for you. And nobody else caused what you did or what you said. Nobody else made you say what you said or what you did. No. Nobody else caused whatever it happens in your life. No, you cause it yourself. And you have to determine, are you going to sit there and just bend over and take it for the rest of your life? Or are you going to actually do something about it and make your life the best it can be? Because we only go around once in this lifetime. That's it. Me? My life is what you see here. My life is what it is right here. It's a shame a lot of you don't understand that. See, while you guys are out partying, gallivanting around, just enjoying life. Me? I sit right here every day. Sit here in the dark, just waiting. And what do I wait for, you say? Could be waiting for a lot of things. Maybe a streetcar. No. I wait because think about this. All good things come to those who wait. All good things come to those who take their time, who play their cards carefully, who understand situations. Because sometimes one must use their ears and listen. Really listen and understand what's being said and understand what's being expressed out there. Only then can one react. Only then can one make things relevant. It may seem that I am saying a bunch of random things, but everything that I say to you today must make some sense. It must. So on that note, I bid you farewell, my friends. Take heed in the darkness, for the darkness never sleeps, the darkness never rests, and the darkness never, ever stops.